listen, learn, and ask. So those are the main tasks for month number one. You start, if you don't have one yet, you start a Notion page or a Google Doc, whatever it is, because everything that you're gonna listen, learn, and ask, you're gonna like also put it in that documentation, right? Because this is gonna be your future like reference for things. Because then you're preparing for month two, where typically they're gonna start handing you accounts. That's why I advise like listen, learn, and ask, because then month two, that's when you're typically going to be going in full mode of like getting on calls with clients, understanding like how do you like sell the value of yourself, what are you doing, but also like the company, what the company's offering. So month two, it's a lot about getting your hands dirty and like getting your feet in the mud and doing, because otherwise it's kind of like you're doing a lot of learning, everything is on
Mm,
paper, but if you wait too long to get your hands dirty, then that imposter syndrome starts kicking in. It's like, oh, can I really do this? Or do I really know how to do this? And then month three, you're looking for some results, right? Some quick wins that you can share not only with your team, with your customers, but also your manager. So like thinking about like the first 3 months, what are some of the quick wins that I can do here, not only for myself, so I can feel good and prove that I can do the job, but also to the rest of the team. You don't want to wait too long. You don't want to wait longer than 90 days. You don't want to wait like a whole 6 months to show some quick wins. And when I say quick wins, it doesn't have to be anything big. It could be
Welcome to another episode of Customer Success Talks, Real Challenges, Experts Advice, the podcast dedicated to helping those transitioning into customer success and early career customer success managers. I'm your host, Byron Turuño, a customer success manager. Today, we will be talking about something that is really, really exciting. And let's be honest, can also be chaotic. And that's when you are a new customer success manager in a startup. And also, there's a difference when you start in a startup and an enterprise. But today we will be focusing on a startup. And we have an amazing guest who will actually give us her insights and tell us what she has done wrong and what we can learn from that as well, and all of the tips and insights she can give us. So I'm talking about Priscila Fletcher. Priscilla is a customer success leader and coach with over a decade of experience helping individuals and teams grow, thrive, and also reach their full potential. She is passionate about coaching, crafting safe spaces where people feel seen and heard, and drive real results. What a great combination. She's also the founder of Latinos in Customer Success. She's a mentor, a business consultant, a one that I consider a friend as well. And I hope we can meet at some point physically, Priscilla, in the near future. And you're also a top 100 customer success strategist of 2024. And outside of your work, let's move from professional to your outside of work life. And you are all about family, long walks to clear the mind, and hosting dinners with your neighbors. Welcome to Customer Success Talks, Priscilla.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited that I get to chat with you. As you said it, we are more than just like collaborators. We're like friends by this time. And I love collaborating with you and supporting the community in any way I can.
Absolutely. I think that that's what drives us both as well, the community, and finding the ways that we can share a little bit to the community as well. That in customer success, it's a unique one.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a very supportive community and very open. So one, I'm proud to be part of it.
And Priscilla, I before we even jump into start as a new customer success manager in a startup, I want to know a little bit more about Latinos in Success. If I'm not mistaken, it has been around for almost 2 years now. I remember when you actually started Latinos in Customer Success. And I have two questions. The first one is, what will people expect from Latinos in Customer Success?
Yeah, that's a good question. So yeah, we've been around for probably a year and a half at this point, and we've been growing and doing a lot. The communities focus on CS resources for Latinos and also allies. That's something I'd love to mention, that allies are also welcome. People ask me all the time, can I join even though I'm not Latino? And yes. So right now we pretty much have a half and half, Latinos and allies. So it's important to mention what we're doing here. It's 100% volunteer based. We have probably around 12 squad members that help me on a monthly basis delivering value, whether it's through newsletters, fireside chats, hosting happy hours, job coaching groups, you name it. There's a bunch of initiatives that we're doing, but everything towards like supporting the CS community, whether you're transitioning into CS or you're a seasoned leader that you're looking to give back. That's where we meet in between and we provide resources to the community.
Priscilla, Latinos in customer success, my perspective, as I'm part of it as well, it's one of the most active CS communities out there. Like there's constantly different materials to give. And also there's always different thought leaders participating as well. And like you said, people who volunteer to do this. What's the key? Like why is it Latinos in success being so successful and also feeling like that human side of things? How do you manage that?
Yeah, I think number one is because that's everything that we do comes from the heart. We're not aiming success based in numbers. We're aiming like to support and to help first. So naturally the value is gonna come through that, it's gonna shine. And I think people see us like doing what we're doing and they're inspired to do the same. But I think number one, in all the initiatives that we do, we think about it very carefully. Is this going to deliver value? Is this for us or is this for them? So
Mm.
we always take our time to think about this is for them and putting ourselves in the community shoes. What is needed right now? So we're not planning like, oh, every quarter we need to have this. We're kind of like leaving room to decide what's needed right now. So every quarter we come up with new initiatives and continue to work on what's working, what's delivering value. But we're flexible, we're listening to the community. And I think that's what motivates because people can feel the passion, but they can always see that this is for them, it's not for us.
Yeah, love that, Priscilla. And I think that that's something that people will definitely feel when joining and participating as well. If we move, oh, by the way, everyone, all the links to join Latinos in Success will be in the description of today's episode. So just feel free to go and check it out. There is the link, there is the Slack as well. And if you're curious enough, go and check it out. And I promise you that you will learn and connect with other amazing people as well. Priscilla, if we move from Latinos in Success to to the main topic for today's episode, what comes to your mind when you go back into your deep memories when you started your first day as a customer success manager in a startup? What is the first either challenge, either happiness that comes to your mind?
Yeah, I think I'll start with the excitement, right? You're excited because you're in a new role, you're excited to build something new, you're excited to be part of it. When you started as a customer success manager in a startup, there's a lot of opportunities and a lot of challenges, but it's mostly about looking at the opportunities, right? Because you have the opportunity to be part of something bigger because you can grow faster. You have less layers of like leadership to go through. You can have access to directly to leadership. You get to build things in a more flexible way without like going through so many approvals. And then the challenging part is like that everything happens so fast and happens at the same time. So I think going back and thinking about was like my first day, my first month in a startup is like there's so much to digest. There's so much coming at you, but then you have the freedom to decide as like what am I going to focus first and how do I
Mm.
prioritize things here?
It sounds excitement, fast. Also, you can prioritize. Isn't that too much? Isn't would that be the main challenge that a customer success manager will have?
Well, not the main challenge, I would say, but one of the challenges, right? Because, and I think in any type of role, those three things are going to come anyway. Like you're going to have to, you're enjoy the excitement, right? It's a new role. You got hired for a reason. So I always tell people enjoy the excitement. Don't let the imposter syndrome or the challenges or the fear just disrupt and you from enjoying and celebrating what you just accomplished. You just got a new job. You just got hired to be either the first CSM or a new CSM at a startup. So there's a lot to celebrate. So I always encourage people because that celebration is going to drive you to the success, right? Otherwise, you're just like focus on the challenges and delivering, and then you're going to forget about what's the reason they really hired you, what they saw in you that they didn't see in other candidates. So it's important to remember the excitement. And then, of course, the challenges are going to come like any other role. The key for startups, I would say, is the prioritization. Like if you're able to prioritize, what am I gonna do in my first 90 days? Not even 60, but think about the first 90 days. And then from there you prioritize. Otherwise, yes, you're gonna be pulled in many directions. You're gonna be inundated with information, with tasks. But if you're able to prioritize, then you can like, okay, this is for month one, month two, and month three. This is where I want to be in month three. So you can break down the tasks into smaller tasks.
I remember the first time I joined a startup as a customer success manager, Priscilla. I was indeed excited, but then something happened that I start questioning myself. And I think that we forget, and this is something to touch on, we forget on like you said imposter syndrome. And for me, that means that we need to give ourselves some time to adapt, to accept that we are new and that we need to ask some questions. I think that that's something that is definitely comes with not only startup but in any company in any role.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, in any role, the first 90 days, that's why it's important for you to have an onboarding plan. If your manager doesn't have one, go ahead and set up one for yourself and connect with your manager on it. Because sometimes, yes, you're going to go join a startup. They might not have a 90 days onboarding plan for you because they're new, they're busy, they have a bunch of stuff going on. So I encourage people also to go ahead and set up their 90 day onboarding plan and talk to your manager. If you don't have a one-on-one doc where that you meet with your manager every week, go ahead and set up one as well. So the thing with startups, there's a lot of things that you're going to have to build, right? A lot of things that you're going to have to come up like in those things for yourself, like the one-on-one agenda, the 90 days onboarding plan, like some of those things might not come in a box for you in a startup, but nothing's telling you that you don't get to build it. You get to build those, you know. And then what happens later, based on my own experience, is like you're going to use that with new members on your team. And then your manager is going to start seeing you as a leader because you're actually doing the leadership tasks on a day to day.
And that's the beauty, right? That's the beauty of the startup, that we have space to create. I think
Yes.
this the
Yeah.
beauty of the startup is that from in one side you're able to create, but you have to think how to create that and what you want and even what is around you, that so that way
Yeah.
you don't have to create from zero. On the other side is that it can get complicated when you have to learn a lot and there's no structure. And you touch on a powerful tool, which is the 90 days onboarding plan. So what about if we create one here for anyone listening, and if we start with the 30 days, what was your top priority as a new customer success manager in your first 30 days, besides excitement and celebrating? What was that priority, or what priority would you give here?
Yeah. I would start with three things. Let's keep it simple, right?
Let's
Like
do it.
so listen, learn, and ask. So those are the main tasks for month number one. You start if you don't have one yet, you start a Notion page or a Google Doc, whatever it is, because everything that you're gonna listen, learn, and ask, you're gonna like also put it in that documentation, right? Because this is gonna be your future like reference for things that you're going to share with other team members. So number one, prioritize listening as much as you can, sit in all the meetings that you can, ask as many questions as you can because Sometimes people are busy, they don't have time to come to you with answers, but if you're proactively asking, they're going to help. And learn as much as you can. You have to learn about the product, you have to learn about company, what's the process, internal process. You have to learn about your customers, right? Who are your customers? What are they doing? What type of segmentation they're using? Because then you're preparing for month two, where typically they're going to start handing you accounts. If you have that first month, sometimes they hand you accounts out right away, right? You don't get 30 days to adjust. But if you do, that's why I advise like listen, learn, and ask, because then month two, that's when you're typically going to be going in full mode of like getting on calls with clients, understanding like how do you like sell the value of yourself, what are you doing, but also like the company, what the company's offering. So month two, it's a lot about getting your hands dirty and like getting your feet in the mud and doing, because otherwise it's kind of like you're doing a lot of learning, everything is on
Mm.
paper, but if you wait too long to get your hands dirty, then that imposter syndrome starts kicking in. It's like, oh, can I really do this? Do I really know how to do this? And not only that only happens when you're in front of customers and when you make mistakes, when sometimes they ask questions and you don't know the answer, and then you're gonna find out the answer and you're never gonna forget that again, right? And then month three, you're looking for some results, right? Some quick wins that you can share not only with your team, with your customers, but also your manager. So, like thinking about like the first 3 months, what are some of the quick wins that I can do here? Not only for myself, so I can feel good and prove that I can do the job, but also to the rest of the team. You don't want to wait too long. You don't want to wait longer than 90 days. You don't want to wait like a whole 6 months to show some quick wins. And when I say quick wins, it doesn't have to be anything big. It could be a quote that a customer shared in an email, right? Like, oh, we're able to accomplish this. Thank you so much for the help. You can start saving those things throughout the first 90 days. Or a team member that, or like, oh, thanks for making this process easier. Now we can do this better. So any type of quick win to help you feel like you're moving and also to help the team to see, okay, I see the impact already.
Love the love everything. I need to break it down because you also touch on impact, and I think at least for me is one of my biggest challenges right now. To how can I show and demonstrate myself to the customer and to my manager the impact that I'm bringing? And I think that in a startup, it's also complicated if there's not a structure. What suggestion would you give to someone who already went over those 90 days and is still not sure if what they're doing is on the right track?
Um, yeah, that's a tricky question, right?
It
Because
is 100%.
it depends on like what type of structure your company will have, like what kind of data you have access to. If you do have access to data, go digging into the data to see like what type of growth, what kind of like movement you had into your numbers, whether it's like preventing churn or getting an expansion or a renewal, any type of number that you can grab and then you can prove it to not only the customer, like even on the customer side, you can think about like, okay, 3 months ago, you didn't have access to this data. Now you do, and now you're able to accomplish X and Y and Z. So just thinking about what are some quantifiable things that you can put in front of like the customer and also your leadership team, because sometimes I know it could feel like a lot and you're like don't know where to start, right? But then think
Mhm.
about like small things. I started looking at my book of business and like, okay, who are the customers that are like most active here in my book of business and what are they doing and how are they doing? Because then one, I can replicate with other customers. Number two, I can also show those customers it's like you created 10 dashboards this month and you saved like 5 hours in team meetings. You're able to sell an extra 10 customers because of our technology, right? Like a sales pipeline, depending on what you do, just giving examples, but anything that could be quantifiable. Think about the bullets on your resume, right? Like this is something I often advise people to like try to add a bullet in your resume every month because that's going to keep it fresh. Even if you're not looking for a job, try to do this. Mark on your calendar, add a bullet on your resume. So this quarter or this month, I was able to save reduce churn by 3%, whatever it is. Like that's one bullet, right? Like, and those bullets are going to help you vocalize not only to the leadership team but to the customers. But you're also prioritizing yourself as a
Yeah.
CSM. Like you're thinking about your wins, your progress, because that's something we often forget. We do everything for the customer and for the company, but we forget about ourselves. How are you like moving the needle, improving your value? So the resume bullet is a good way to keep track.
Love that. I will definitely start using that for myself because I keep prioritizing other stuff and keep forgetting that my career is also super important. Mm, Priscilla, you touch on so many things. It's easy to actually break it down on the 60 on the 30, 60, 90 days because of each tool that you gave and that we can use on those. If we go back to the 30 days, use the listen, learn, and ask. And I something that I use at the beginning is to actually do demo calls with my own colleagues. Giving me the opportunity to practice as much as I can will give me the confidence to have a conversation with the customer that at the end, um, I might not know everything, but I will know more than my customer. And it's completely fine to say no. I think that saying no to the customer also give us a bit of authority during those conversations with them. And something that I would like to add as well here is that having this open conversation with the manager into where they expect the team to go, and also you as an individual collaborator, I think it makes a big difference because if they're incentivizing you based on revenue or expansion, so that means that will be your focus for a while, and then you adjust your strategy towards that goal. Or maybe is to produce success stories, or maybe is to produce revenue, right? So there's so many roads that we can take, but unfortunately we can only take one at a time. So I think that prioritizing, which you said, it's super important by asking those questions.
Yeah, 100% agree. I think setting that foundation with your manager in the first 30 days, it's crucial because that's going to determine the relationship that's going to be for the rest of your tenure over there, right? Like the rest of the journey. I remember working at a startup and my manager was just like he was just so good about that stuff. The first 30 days, he took the time for us to not only get to know the team, we had leaving like sections on like let's just get to know each other. Let's get
Mhm.
to know what you do well, what you don't do well, what are the things you like, what are the things you don't like, communication wise, like even those little things, like, okay, now I know that Slack is not your thing, that maybe just live calls, maybe just emails, like we all have different things, right? Like people love meetings, some people hate meetings. So taking that time to get to know the manager and team members, it's so worth it. It makes a big difference because at the end of the day, that's the team that you're going to work with, right? Like when things are like down, when things are not great, you need to know those team members are going to have your back and how you work together. Because it's not just assuming that things are going to be good always, but in times of crisis, that's when you really see the true colors and who are the people that I can rely on this person and I better steer away from this person. So and this is something I learned in like not only startups, but restaurant business also. Like when you work in restaurants, sometimes you get a rush and you're not expecting, and the machines go down and you're short on staff. And that's when you're like, okay, we're it's it's showtime. We got to do this. And you only have an hour and a half to perform, right? Because usually that's how long people stay in a restaurant, hour and a half to 2 hours. So you have that hour and a half to produce and to show and to pretend nothing is happening. And you got to show up in a different way because that's their experience. And those are the things I translate to customer success, right? Because that's their experience. And you only have so much time to perform and to show them this is worth it. This is why you bought our product, and this is what we're gonna do. So you have to know the team that's behind the scenes that they're gonna support you and they're gonna do things with you.
It's just a discovery phase. I think that we are always in discovery mode, but those first 90 days I think that's crucial, and we also have the advantage that we are that person who is still in that discovery phase. So there are questions that are still, I will say, valid. But the first thing that I try to do myself, Priscilla, it's always trying to find my allies and always try to find my mentor. Not everyone likes or wants to be a mentor, so that's something that is about the discovery phase. But having that senior person who can guide you through, I think that's so crucial. And on the other side, for me, what works really well when it comes to time management is my calendar. I use a lot Google Calendar, and blocking my time, it just helps me respect that time, and it helps other people respect their time as well. Have you had scenarios where you look for a mentor as well?
Yeah, I mean, you have to have it. The only thing I would say to be careful, it's not just to think about as your boss as your mentor, because
Mm,
sometimes that could cause frustration because sometimes your boss is not going to be your mentor, whether because they don't have time or they don't want to be that person, right? Like some people don't want to be mentors, like you mentioned, and
mm,
it's okay. But what I see a lot is like customer success managers getting frustrated that they're not getting the mentorship inside the company from their bosses, and sometimes it's not something they can't give or they don't have it in them to give it. So what I would say is like be strategic also in that. An exercise we do is like look at the power chart in the company, right? And that's not going to be based on their job title, because you're going to look at the chart of the company, and sometimes you're going to assume the most powerful people in the org are the high titles, right? But that doesn't mean that. So if you take your time in the first 90 days, have the org chart in front of you and start coloring them. Like, who are the most powerful people here in this org? And you're going to start seeing who are the people that hold all the knowledge, who are the people that are sharing the knowledge. Because sometimes the most powerful people, they have all the knowledge, but they're blockers. They're not going to share anything with you, and they're blocking you to get the knowledge as well, right? So you don't want to go there. You want to go to the powerful people, people that hold the knowledge, people that have been in the company for a long time. They might be unicorns there because they know so much about everything, but they're also sharing things. They're collaborating with different teams. They're open to answer questions. They're open to mentor you. So doing that org chart exercise in the first 90 days is going to help you not only get to the people that is going to be that mentor for you, it's going to help you thrive, but also it's going to help you stay away from the people that are like going to block you and save you from some frustration.
interesting. I heard it in one of the podcasts that I was listening to. They called it the influence chart. And now that you touch on this, it's completely true. It when I did it already with the team, and it helps me because I need to focus 100% on the meetings. Like it's recommended, of course, to always focus on the meetings. But when you do this org chart that you said, and you um, identify the powerful, the influence, the knowledgeable person, you are 100% focused on the conversations as well. So you're constantly even learning and being present in time and space in that meeting. But how do you do this chart? Do you do it on a piece of paper? Do you do it on digital? Like, how can I start doing it, Priscilla?
Hmm. Yeah, I think that's something that we all have to figure it out what works better, right? Like for me, I like to write things down. I like to see it, that the motion of writing it's like doubling down, that it's sticking in my brain. But I also like to use Notion for everything. So sometimes some people, or a Google Doc. And if you prefer to use Notion or a Google Doc or a Google Sheet, whatever it is that makes it easy for you, that's totally fine. As long as you do the exercise and it's sticking to your brain, right? That's the main thing. Otherwise, it's just kind of useless. You're not going to remember. And it's just something for you. That's not something you're going to share with anybody or give access. It's not for the team. This is just an exercise you're doing for yourself. So whatever works for you. If it's a piece of paper, I've seen a lot of people have like different color markers, like pink, red, and green, like highlighters where they're highlighting just the name of the person. And they
Mm,
know by the color chart is like the red is like this is a no-no, the green is like those are the powerful people in the chart, and then the yellow ones, like where they're kind of like in the middle, you know. So that's a simple thing that you can do.
Absolutely. What I do is that I do it by hand, taking notes, and I don't add the full name of the person because it takes me more time. But I do it by the first letter, and then when that person speaks, I add a small X next to it, and then to whom is that person speaking as well, and to whom is it? Is it several people? I don't know. That's like my way of doing it. It would be interesting to know everyone how you will start doing it or how have you done it. You can add it in the comments as well because I think that this is a really powerful tool to learn and identify those allies, those mentors, and definitely something that you can stay present. I will say. But Priscilla, I have a question for you. If we move from the 90 days now to more of your past again, and what would you wish someone had told you before you started in a startup?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think don't rely so much on internally. Go find the answers for yourself. That's something I learned later on in life. When you're younger and you're hungry and you don't know as many things, you're like putting 100% of your energy and time in your new job and in the company and the product and your team. So after that, naturally, that you're just like you're in it 100% and you're not doing any learning outside of that. And then after a while, what happens is like, oh, I didn't do anything for myself or any learning on the side, and now I'm lacking some of this because I'm not able to get this here. So just finding that balance, what it is like you learning inside the company and you're learning outside the company, whether it's like mentorship outside the company, online courses, or even courses, whatever it is that you're going to do on the side, do it for yourself because that's something that nobody's going to take away from you. The knowledge, right? Like sometimes you might lose the job, you might lose the tools that you have there, but the knowledge you have, that's never going to be taken away from you. So that's definitely an advice that I give people that I wish I knew earlier.
Will you go back to a startup or do you prefer or will you go back to an enterprise? So basically the question is what do you prefer? Being working in a startup or working in an enterprise?
Hmm. I think they both have the pros and cons. Now I know because I worked in both. I started in startups and enterprise and then moved to startups. The enterprise, you have the security, right? Like everything is laid down for you. It's there, the process. You can just show up and do your work. You don't really have to get your hands dirty too much because there's also a lot of layers of approval. You can't really do that. The startups are like you get to do more because you have more of a say of like this is what we're doing and things change fast. So you're not stuck in one process, one way of doing things. You have the ability to grow faster. You can like move the needle faster. And there's like that energy, right? That you can accomplish things together because the teams are smaller and you get to communicate. You have access to the C-suite, which you don't necessarily do in an enterprise. I'm a builder, so I would say I would stick with the startups because I like to build things. I like so you it's really like you got to see what's your personality, your type. Do you like to build or do you like to just continue the process that somebody already has there and do you need to learn more? If you're brand new, I would advise you to start at a bigger company where you have more resources and can learn before you go build. That's what I did, and I'm happy that I did that because I started bigger companies. I learned everything there, and then I went on to build my own thing. But it's tricky if you don't have the background, right? If you don't know and you don't have that, then you're kind of like struggling there. There's nobody to teach you, and you have to build everything from the ground up.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I like about this startup is that you're able to learn so much. It's not that an enterprise you will not. I will also recommend starting in an enterprise. But I think that in a startup, you're able to learn a little bit of marketing. You're able to learn a little bit of product. You're able to learn some coding, some how to generate reports. You're part of those key decision making in a company, and I have been able to learn a lot from that. That then it can be applied as well. So Yeah, I will second that what you said. Like if possible, starting on an enterprise will be the best way to create your personality, because you can also through that learn what personality or not. Well, you know your personality, but to it's an easier place where you can play and test a little bit more. Priscilla, you said that you are a builder. How can one know who we are? Like, is there any advice that you can give us into identify if we are a builder, if we are a more a leader, if we are maybe someone who is more strategic, more like what? How can I determine that personality?
Yeah, there's many ways you can do that. Like even now, you can take like if you haven't yet, I recommend take an archetype test, like just to see what's your archetype. I didn't do this until like probably a few years ago, and it's like interesting to learn like what are some of your traits, and that's one thing that is really helpful. Something else is usually like taking a look back on the things. How do you deal with things, right? Like when things come your way, are you the person that are going to be okay with like having no process and building everything from the ground up? Or does that make you uncomfortable, right? Because for a lot of people, I
Mm.
hear it's like, oh, I don't like this. Or even talking to CSMs, I remember interviewing people, and some CSMs will come to me like, oh, I don't deal with large book of business. I can only do five at a time. And some people are like, oh, yeah, I thrive if I have 60 to 80. Give me 60 to 80. So you can like understand like what's your personality? Like, do you thrive in chaos, or do you thrive in when like things are like steady? Or do you want to build things, or do you want to just continue the process? Asking yourself those questions, it's going to help you determine like what do you enjoy the most, right? What drives you? What makes you get up in the morning and get excited? Like I get excited if I see that there's no process. To me, it means like there's a lot to build there. I don't see an empty space and say, oh, there's nothing here. What am I going to do? So it's really like doing an inventory of like your behavior and how do you see things. Like for me, it's like, oh, there's an empty chair. I'm going to pull it and I'm going to make my position. But
Mhm.
for some other people, it's like, oh, there's no positions here. What am I going to do? So you have to think about like how do you see things? Do you see things in this way or in that way? And then you're gonna determine it. It's okay if the more you get to know yourself, the better decisions you get to make and the better choices you get to make.
And the more comfortable ones can feel with those decisions as well, right?
Yes.
Priscilla, it's time to start wrapping up today's episode. Thank you for all of those insights that you given, all of the tools that we can apply as well. And I will invite everyone again to join Latinos in join Latinos in Success, because there's just a lot of amazing people who are there open to talk, to teach, and to learn. I have one more question for you, Priscilla, and that's what's one piece of advice you will give someone starting a customer success role in a startup this week? And that's tough because you gave many, so you have to come up with another one.
Yeah. Um, I think the main advice is just don't forget why they hired you. Don't forget why you were the one that they chose in the middle of like hundreds of applicants. Keep that in mind because that's what's going to drive you to do good things. That's what's going to drive you to do the hard things when you think you can't. Always go back to that place. Why did they hire me in the first place? Why am I the one to do this role? What did they see in me? Ask yourself those questions because it's easy to forget, but that's something you're going to need in the good and the bad days. So just remember, because at a startup, you're going to have more chaotic days than not. And it's important to stay grounded.
This question that I'm going to ask you, I haven't asked it before, but I feel that with you, I need to ask this. What is that phrase when you have dark days that you read and it motivates you again?
Yeah. I have one that is like, I have it in front of me every day, but that's for the good and the bad, but mostly for the bad, right? Like this too shall pass. I even have a tattoo here. It's like, but it's in Portuguese. So it says tudo passa because you have to remember like it's just this too shall pass. It's a bad day, it's a good day that will pass. So don't let the good days get over your head and don't let the bad days draw on you. It's just something that I keep in mind every day.
Thank you, Priscilla, for your words. Thank you so much for your time and your insights.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited to hear the whole thing. And if you want to join the community, this is for Latinos and is also for allies. So join us. There's lots that we're building, and if you want to help us and volunteer as well, we're happy to have you.
There you go, everyone. We have the doors open, and I will be super curious to hear what you have to say about today's episode, about all the tools and how you implement them, and also looking forward to seeing you in Latinos in Success as well. And like I always say, remember, keep learning, keep growing, and let's keep improving the world of customer success. Until next time.